So what is the goal today? Uh, First thing, what we did in the last week, right? In the last week, if you remember, we talked about why Docker. We talked about Docker versus virtual machines. How are they different? We installed Docker and we ran the Docker in Windows mode. We right-clicked on that taskbar and we said run on Windows mode, right? Then we tried to understand the multi-stage build of Docker. So if you remember that how Docker builds in stages and how it passes, how we can pass, the folder paths, from one stage to another stage. And also we said that how you can visualize your external file, your host file versus the Docker file, right? That we discussed about. And then we created container images and container instances, right? So remember, container images are nothing but they are images, they are templates. And from that, the instances are created. And then we talked about two Docker commands last time. So we said that one Docker command, which is Docker build, it actually goes and creates an image, and Docker run actually goes and runs an instance, right? So that's what we did last time. So in case if somebody has missed out, please go and see that, right? I will try my best, if people have joined in today first time, I will try my best, to explain again the new files, but I would surely suggest that please go and watch the last 2 hours of video. It will help you to connect to the class properly. Okay. Now let us do like this. Now let us move ahead. Last time what we did, if you remember our last time file, so remember all the files I've put it out here, right? So last time, the file which we had was, the file was this. I'm like, we don't have the file here, but the file was something like this. If you remember, last time we said in the Docker, you will go and you will install SDK. We will build inside the Docker, right? We will publish it. And we had ran using Kestrel. Last time we ran using Kestrel, right? So this one where we say entry point.NET and DLL, that means that we are using Kestrel to run it, right? Now what we'll do first, let us do first. Now to run inside IIS is easy. Like if you say, how do you install .NET Core into IIS? First you install the runtime, then you copy your build files into the www root, or must be wherever the application is created, you create the application and you say that it does not belong to any runtime. Remember, you shouldn't be selecting ASP.NET 4.5 and that's it, right? So that's how it is done. But we want to run this inside IIS, right? So how do we do it through Docker now, right? This one is through Kestrel, okay? So for that, let me go and let me take a simple file out here. So what I've done is, I've taken a simple index file. What we'll do is, let's not get into complications of ASP.NET hosting first. Let's take this simple file. This is a simple page. And let us put this page inside IIS. Simple page running inside IIS, right? So what we'll do is, when you install IIS, right, by default, a www root is created. So we'll just copy the file in www root. We will run in localhost 80 port and done, right? Everybody is aware of IIS and www root. Please put down in the chat, yes, we are aware of IIS. We are aware of www root. Please do put it on the chat, right? I'm expecting mostly senior join. In case not, please, people who are not understanding, please connect to me later on. Must be from Monday to Thursday. We can talk one-to-one, right? So now look at the Docker file. The Docker file is very simple, absolutely simple. Let me do a small change here so that I can make it more simple, right? What I'll do is I will take this. Let's take this one, right? There is an image. If you see at this moment, it's just a 2 command. There's nothing out here. I'm like, if you see, it's a very simple 2 command. And what we are doing here, we are actually taking IIS and Windows Server Core. So I don't want to take this version. I want to take this version of image. So I'll just paste this. Very simple. Go to Microsoft website. Install the IIS. Remember, we have a Windows container running. It will install IIS. And then copy this index.html, the current file, into www root and done. Simple, right? So I'll just say reveal in File Explorer, and let us go and copy this folder to I've just given name as code123, horrible name. So I'll just copy this to our, remember at this one, there is no build, nothing, So I'll just say code123 and I will let me put it out here in the C drive. Remember, this is our Azure virtual machine where Docker is running. You can see Docker is running out here. It is clean. It is running in the Windows mode. Please note our Docker is running in the Windows mode. Here it is. Switch to Linux. I've run in Windows mode, right? Okay. So with that now, so everything is there. So now first thing, remember rule number 1. And I said that day also, right? Docker file should be at the top of the directory. Don't put it inside the directory. So wherever your code file is index.html, don't do that. You have to change up and go down, right? So put the Docker file. So I will just cut this Docker file from here and I will just paste it in my C drive. Right? I'll just paste it in my C drive. Okay. Good. So with that now, let us go ahead and let us try to run the Docker files. Okay. The Docker command. So remember, just in case if you to create a Docker image, remember the command. This was it. Docker build, the name of the image, and dot means the current folder. If wherever your file is, if your file is a current folder, you will just say dot, right? So I'll take this, copy this. Definitely, we are not creating an MVC core image. We'll be creating a simple static image, right? So let us go and say, so let us run CMD, right? And try to run CMD in the admin mode just to avoid any issues, right? So run CMD and I'll just go down, right? And let me make the fonts bigger so that you can see it. Font 28. Yeah, right. So here I will say Docker will not give the name as see, remember here in this directory, our Docker file is Docker file. It is in this directory, in the current directory. There it is, right? So now we'll say Docker this, and remember, we'll just give a name as static image. Means it is simple HTML. So, oh gosh, static image, right? So build it. Let us see what happens. Docker build -t static image, and the Docker file is in the current folders, right? What happened? Now, one of the things I feel I can have a problem here is that this virtual machine is a Azure virtual machine. And Azure virtual machine, and this Docker is an exe, please note. This Docker is an exe, and Azure virtual machines are quite protected. Their firewalls are running, their antivirus is running. So I'm not sure he will allow me to run the exe through on the C drive. I'm not sure about it. Let us see. It should not take so much time. It should have started. Right. You can see here error checking cannot start because the Windows Defender did not allow it. No problem, right? So what we'll do is we will create a code123 inside this. So I was expecting that. I'll just put it here. I have to run it through a folder. He's saying that you can't do this in C drive, right? Fine. Now, one way is that I have to go to the Windows Defender and stop it. I don't think it's a good idea. So what I've done is inside code123, I put the Docker file and the code is inside code123. Remember, I said the Docker file should be at the top, right? So with that, at least I think I should not now get a problem. Let us see. CD code123, right? And here now I'll try to run the Docker command. So I hope that it will not stop me. That it is good. It is not stopping. Now you can see here, it gives out a small, it's not an error. It says that you are not logged into Docker. Its Windows version might not be updated, right? And so on. The system cannot find the file specified. So yeah, he's looking at the Docker credentials. So I'll say, okay, fine. Leave the Docker credentials. I'm okay with that, right? And there it is. So you can see it is installing, right? So very simple command. Very, very, very simple, right? Let it run. 2 lines of code. Copy star to www root. And what is in the current directory? This is the current directory. In the current directory, we have that complete folder. So the complete folder will get copied. So from this file, we are firing, copy this complete star to INET www root. So what will happen inside INET pub www root, code 123 will be, that whole file will be copied, right? Okay. So let us see what happens. And it is downloading, right? And so on. Okay. Let it download, let it install, right? It will take some time. Now, this was simple, but what happens in real time? So in real time, what happens is you want to install IIS. After that, you want to go and configure the default application. You want to go and point towards a folder and say that, okay, to this folder, create a virtual application. You want to then say, set that application pool to 4.5 or set it to no pool or whatever, right? If it is .NET Core and so on. So basically, we are talking about, that we do a lot of configuration through IIS. So how do we do that, right? So let me show you a sample file of how to do it. So here you can see a sample file and then we'll run it, right? So this was simple IIS hosting. But now if you say, no, I want to, one is that, so that is installing at the back, let that thing run. But if you say, no, I want to install, but at the same time, I want to remove the default website, I want to create my own website, then how do you go about it? Then for that, PowerShell is our brother, right? Which will help you to do it. So you can see here's a simple code. Let me zoom here. So look at it, what I'm doing here, and then we'll run this, okay? So it says that first install IIS. That's the first command, install IIS, right? And please note, we are not saying here as something. Why? Because from there, we don't want to find pass the folder path. So that layer, whatever installation that layer is doing, it is okay, right? We are not expecting to pass the folder path. In case we was, then I would have said as install, right? At this moment, nothing. This install IIS. Second, I'm saying start the PowerShell command, right? Then start PowerShell over here. This shell is PowerShell. Copy the current complete folder to so copy the current host folder to Docker's folder. And after that, look at it, run. Now, because first you have to open PowerShell, run command of PowerShell, remove website default, right? Second, run new website. What is the name of the website you want? My web 1, right? In which port you want to run? 80. What is the physical file path? C code 123. By default inside Docker, it is C drive. So, and we have said here, copy to code 123 and then expose 80. If you see this file and the older file, the difference was that was running in Kestrel. Please note, in Kestrel, we did not say run 80, we said entry point. Please understand the difference. Over here, we have said entry point, right? So let us go back out here. It is still downloading. It is still extracting, right? So any questions, guys, on the, on this thing? Let me know until that installation is happening. Any question on how to install IIS, how to copy it, how to run? Means PowerShell. Your answer is PowerShell to that, yeah. If you have any questions, you can put down on the chat. Okay, let me start from down. 1.GB, that every time it will download huge file. Why? So good question. So every time it will not download. Let me take this question first, right? So it says that that's a huge file. Will it get installed every time? No. Once this Windows IIS is installed out here, it will actually put that as a separate image. If you go here, it's still not installed completely. It will install that IIS over here. Next time when you fire again, he will actually take it from the cache. So remember that when you actually go and download this, right, it actually goes and installs it over here. So it has still not done it, but that image will come here. So next time you don't have to run it, right? Okay. What happens? Step 1 of 2 is completed. 1 of 2 is completed, running this, and he's trying to do a copy, right? So let us hope the best. Okay. Let me take the second question. So until then, we'll take the question, right? Right, let me, sir, in which VM it is installed, right? So in which VM the OS is currently, see the VM is, okay, so let me take this question here. Can you guys see the chat window? I'm not sure. Uh, let me, I'm not sure. Let me put it ahead. Can you guys see the chat window? No, is it? Security feature, huh? From, okay, so what I'll do is let me paste the question. That's fine. Everybody can see it. Sir, in which VM is the OS installed? Windows. Absolutely. This is a Windows version. I have not taken Linux because I know that it is, everybody wants to run Docker on Windows mostly. Why the size of file in GB that is downloading? The size is in GB because yes, it's IIS. It's a big file. Definitely. It's an image. See these files, these URLs, what you find here, what Microsoft has done or what companies do, they host a Docker image of IIS so that developers can download and install inside Docker. So these are big images. That's why. And you can see more than the installation, that extraction is taking time. I don't know why. Okay. It first installs, it's a RAR, and then it starts extracting. Okay, that is done. You can see here, it's saying, good, that at least it ran. So you can see now it says copy failed, no source file were specified. Okay, that is good error actually. What it is saying is that the Docker file is running out here and we have put it inside this folder. So he's saying that either you copy that folder. So what I'll do, guys, for now, let me put it here, right? Let me put it here. Let me explain you what I'm trying to do. At this moment, he's saying that there are no source files out here. There is nothing out here, so I can't copy it. Now he'll say, sir, then what you said that you created code 123, right? See, this code 123 I created for the next example. In the next example, we would like to go and use our directory. We would like to copy our directory and make a virtual path of it, right? So that's why I kept this. So for now, we'll just call this is only a single file, right? So this is, we'll take this. But remember, by default, what as a good practice, what you should do, keep the Docker file at the top and keep the code files down. This is a good practice, right? Your Docker file coding will be very easy. If you try to put all the files here and then copy and then move back, right, it will be problematic, right? Now, coming to that original question where someone asked that, does it install this IIS again and again? No, it will not. For example, now if you see, it will directly run the second command because already the IIS image is installed. You can see here, if everybody can see this, the Windows Server IIS is installed locally. So this will not go and download that image again, right? So you can see that it's done and tuck, right? So you can see now our www root is, he has copied that index.html into www root. Now the next thing is we have to create an instance of it, right? So to create an instance, either you can go and you can create an instance, from the Docker desktop only. You can go and you can say, run this from here like this, right? So you can go ahead, sorry, this one. So you can go and say, take the static image and run it, right? You can say it from here also if you want, but what we'll do is that we will use that Docker run command to do it, right? So I'm going to go here and take the Docker run command. Now remember, this is a static website. So we'll say Docker run. And remember last time I talked about this Docker run 8080 port, right? So I hope this is understood by everyone. So what is the image name of the Docker? So I'll say Docker images. I can get the images name. Our image name is static image, right? So this is the Docker run command. Docker run. External host name is 80. We covered in the last class. Please, people who are everyone remembers this, the 8080, the outside port is 80 and the internal port would be 80 for Docker, right? And what is the instance name? My instance name here is static image. So I want to create a static instance. I'm sorry. So I want to create a static instance. Static instance. And from where I want to create a static instance from the static image. As well, just say static instance 1 so that, right? So with this now, he will go ahead and he will create that instance, right? And this instance, you will see that once the instance is created, it is seen here in this container. Remember, containers are running instances. Images are template. Containers are running instances. Images are template. Images, template, container, running instances. So you can see this is static instance 1. Whenever the Docker command is successful, it gives out a GUID out here saying that everything is good, right? So it is out here, and this GUID is attached here also, right? So that Docker can recognize it. Now let us go and run this, and let us see our index.html is seen or not. That, yeah, you can see the simple page running inside IIS. Very, very simple. Okay. Right. So guys, any questions here? Yeah, let me again go back to questions. I'll just keep this thing running out here so that you can ask me questions, and I will also see the other questions, I think. So let me see other questions as well, right? I'll go top, or else what will happen? I'll just take the new questions, and the old questions I will not take. Okay, very good question from Mandar here. Sir, can we see the Docker file structure? Like you told me that, okay, the index.html is inside, right? Very nice question here. So, and this was a part of my syllabus as well. Can we go and see the Docker file structure? Yes, you can, right? And now I'll talk from the Windows perspective. Oh, this. Give it off. I have an allergy today. So, yeah, can we see the Docker file structure, right? To see the Docker file structure, right? What you can do out here is, you can go ahead and you can say Docker execute, take that container name. Container means instance, and say PowerShell. Once you say PowerShell, you will go inside the Docker's PowerShell, and then you can fire directory command, you can fire list command, and so on. Let us experiment this. So I'll say here, let us go, right? And let us go to the command prompt. Now remember our instance name. How do you find out the Docker instances? Let me show you through command also. Yes, I know you will say, sir, yahan se dekh lo na yaar instance name. I understand it. But let me go the Docker containers. Docker images, Docker. What is it? Okay, fine. So this is the Docker, Docker containers or Docker. What is? Let me see the command. Okay. Okay, there is a command called as, I think, Docker containers or something, which you can go and see the command. But we know that our container name is instance 1. Okay, it is instance 1. So let us do this. Docker instance 1, static instance 1. Right, and what it will do is it will open the PowerShell inside it, static instance 1. So you can see now it has opened a PowerShell, and the PowerShell run inside, it actually peeks inside the Docker, right? And then now I can go and say directory, show me what it is. So it says, see, that is inetpub. Okay, so let's go to inetpub, see inetpub, right? And see www root, right? And clear screen. And what is there inside this? We can see our index.html. How to see the content? I don't know. There is some command called a sprint or something. We can go and see the content as well, right? But the point is, that is the file. So that is the way you can go and you can see your folder structure. Okay. Yeah, Docker PS. Okay, fine. Yeah, thank you. Right, Docker PS. Okay. So that answers that question very quickly. Yes. Right. So let's take the next question. Right. I'll come to other questions also. So right. So Amit, I'll answer. Why don't you put Docker file into 1, 2, 3? So right now we are having code in the VM. But in coming classes, you'll be using repository or Git. Okay, so there's a good question out here. Let me take it. Every time we are starting VM, do you have to install Docker? No, you don't have to install Docker. Every time you start VM, no, you don't have to do that, right? So right now you are having a code in VM where the Docker is running. Absolutely, my code is there. In coming classes, using repository or Git, you will show the demo, right? Yeah, I'll show that demo. But see, remember, please try to understand that why the code is on the server. The code is on the server because we want to build it as per that image. So that image, it can be 64-bit or whatever, right? You can see here the way the images are, something LTSC and something, right? So, it is always good to, build the Docker once, right? Once, it's just a matter of once, build the Docker once, create the instance one and use it. Or else what can happen is if you give a pre-built thing, In case you're giving a pre-built thing, it is difficult, right? And you can fire Git commands. I mean, like, you can see I fired PowerShell. So from PowerShell, you can find Git, do, get latest, whatever you want, right? Once you are inside PowerShell, you have the complete power. Okay, guys, now let us move ahead, right? Let us do the next demo. So what we have done till now, we hosted a simple HTML page inside IIS. We also saw the directory structure, right? Saw the directory structure. Right. Okay. Now what we'll do is, let us take this third one, right? Hosting a simple page inside IIS with custom directory. In the first, what happened? It went into www root. Now I want to create a custom directory. I want to create my own application pool, right? Because for ASP.NET, you have to create application pool. You have to give the pool name and so on, right? So guys, we'll do this demo. As I've told guys, today my health is not down. So this will be my last demo for this class. And then I will take up questions, right? So what we'll do out here is, we will take, so here is the file. I already have the file with me, right? Look at this. First, install IIS, start PowerShell. And this time, we will copy the complete code 123 to code 123, right? So the difference here is, I'll close this. So the difference here would be, so what we'll do is, guys, let us go and delete not this this image, the static image. Let us go and delete the static image, right? For now, don't delete the IIS, or else it will restart again. Let's delete. This is using something, fine. So let me go to the container and delete this static instance one, right? You can again go and fire a Docker remove and all that, right? So, but I'm just using the UI static image, right? So I've kept IIS so that we don't have to do everything, right? So if you look at the code now, the code would be looking something like this. So let me go and paste it. So look at it. Remember, we are inside code 123. Now we will have the importance of, so I'll move this inside this, right? Replace the destination. So inside code 123, now we have index.html. Your Docker file is at, so he will take this code 123, this complete folder, he will put it on IIS. So now we are, we are putting this, because we want this folder to be used as the physical path. We don't want init www root as the physical path. We want this folder to be used as a physical path. I'm trying to go step by step, guys. Then we will do ASP.NET. Please don't worry about it, right? So you can see here, I'm saying copy code. So first you have to fire PowerShell. If you don't do this, this commands run, remove website, run new website will not run. So you have to first run PowerShell, right? Remember, it is Windows. By default in Windows, PowerShell is installed. So for that, we don't have to write a from command over here. Okay, so we copied it to code 123, right? So let me try to visualize. Let me give you a visualization of how this will look. So, so this is how it will look like. Okay, try to understand. Okay, so first he will go and he will create. So think about this is your Docker. And this is your physical machine, right? Must be, I can do like this. So this is your physical machine, because Docker runs inside the physical machine, right? So inside here, you have your code in code 123 / code 123. Please note, because your file, your code is in this code 123. Code means that index.html. Your Docker file is in the main one, Docker file here, right? So you are here now. You are here. When you are firing this command, you are here. So you are saying copy this complete folder into this. So what will happen now? Inside the C drive of Docker, code 123 will be copied, right? So this command will do that. Okay. After that, IIS is already installed. He will remove the website, default website. He will then create a new website by using this commandlet, cmdlet. So remove website to remove cmdlet, name my web application name, on which port to be running, right? And then he will say your physical path is code 123. At this point, we are not setting any application pool because it's a static website. In case you have an application pool, then you have to give your application pool 4.5 or whatever, right? And expose on 80. So that's why I said Docker file should be outside, so that you can you can create the same kind of a folder structure inside Docker. Or is what will happen here, your folder structure is different, there the folder structure is different, is very difficult, right? So with all that, now let us now go out here. So this is here. I will save this. Okay. I've deleted all the images except the IIS so that we don't waste time. So we are now here and we'll fire the command from here. So CMD. Let me make the fonts bigger. See, try to understand the concept. If you try to understand the concept of multi-layer, if you try to understand the concept of how this folder structure and that folder structure work, right, then everything is easy. Okay. And 2-3 things only you have to remember as a Windows developer. You will be using PowerShell. You will have an image like IIS or SQL Server created, right? So most of the custom things you will be using PowerShell. Literally, sometimes if you think that you want to go and do something custom, you will write a PS1 file and paste it and run it. So that kind of thing also people do. Okay. So PowerShell is your friend. So see, the Docker file is here. The code is here. Docker file is here, right? So now I'll say, fine, let us copy that command. I'm in no mood to write the command. So static image 1, right? Control V, static image. This virtual machine is so slow. Static image. So now remember, he will, that IIS, he will not do it. You can see very easily. He has just, this first step, is already done right inside our image. So we don't have to worry about it. Now you can see he's trying to remove the website and then he will try to add a website. So he's running 4 of 6, this command, right? And you can see now he's now trying to go ahead and create a physical path of it, right? So there it is, right? Okay. And you can see that the physical path is also out there. See, remember, you can also see he's saying here that this is a my web 1 and this is the physical path of it. And remember, if you want to go and see the physical path, you can always go and say, we'll need the container for the physical path. Okay. So let us go and create a container now. Let us go and create the container. This is, it will be static image 1, right? So I will create a static instance 1 by using static image 1. This was standard. Right? For some time, try to write the commands. Then I will show by using the Docker desktop how it is easy, right? So for some time, like try to practice like this. It will help you to understand Docker, right? Hey, Docker unable to find image. Oh, sorry, I have to say static instance 1. Kya kar rahe hain? Instance first, image later on. Right. And there it is running, right? And remember, if you want to go and see inside the Docker file, so first thing, let us go and check if that is running or not, our website. That is a Docker container, and you can just go through and see. See, the output will not change, frankly. The output is not going to change. Only thing is that it will be running from a folder. So you can see that is running. That is good. Okay. Now let us go and see the folder path inside Docker, because we are expecting code 123 folder to be created, right? Previously, inet pub www root we have seen. So let us again go and take this command. And we will say, go and see inside the static instance 1, run the PowerShell. Static instance 1. So run the PowerShell and let us go and do a directory. So sorry. Right. So you can see, guys, the code 123 is out there. And that is the code 123 you can see. We can change directory and we can see code 123. Why is jumping up? Right. The index.html, right? Very easy. So in case you want to create your own virtual directory and point it, you will use PowerShell. Okay. Now, before we end the class, tomorrow what we'll do, guys, it is already 30 minutes, little bit my health is down. So sorry for the last minute what do you call, about this thing. I was thinking that I will recover, like, but I did not. So, but very quickly, what we'll still do is, if you remember, our now we know the IIS commands. Okay, now we also know how to do .NET Core. So now let us talk about how the file structure will look like, and tomorrow we'll run this. Okay. So if you remember, this was our. I'll just write a sudo. I will write a pseudo code out here. This is a pseudo code. Please note. So first thing. Okay. Any questions, guys? Put it out there. I will try to answer the question after this thing, right? So remember, this was all doing run .NET restore. This was doing a .NET publish, right? We also need to install the runtime. That is also there, right? But we don't need the entry point. Entry point nahi chahiye, right? Second, we want the copy, but this working directory we don't need. We'll talk about it, right? So we don't need the working directory, right? Now see, what we need first is, let us look at our file. We definitely need IIS to be installed. So must be, we can say, yes, install the IIS at the top, right? Second, what we need the PowerShell commands. So we'll say yes, over here, start firing PowerShell. I'm sorry, right? And remember, we talked about multi-layer. So copy this build MVC core output, wherever it is, to that physical file path, wherever you want to copy, right? So assume at this moment, this is getting copied to MVC folder. Okay. Publish. So it is what we are saying here, whatever is in the output directory, in the build directory, in the build phase, whatever is out here, you will copy to the to this folder. Now this folder will be created in C:MVC folder pub. This folder inside Docker, right hand side is Docker, left hand side is your host machine, right? So now logically, I will first remove the website, the default website. I don't want it. I just want to make sure I want to run on 80 port. If you don't want to run on 80 port, you can just keep the default website. Then I will say run the new website with my web 123, but my folder where our .NET Core is, it is here. And yes, one more step out here, which we'll need to add application pool. I don't remember what the command is, but we have to say our application pool. This is .NET Core. I think what is that application pool? Unknown, no. No something no is there. I forgot. If it is ASP.NET 4.5, we do ASP.NET 4.5, old one, or if we say no pool or something, right? I don't remember the name at this moment. And that's it. Just give me 2 minutes. Huh? Just click on this. Yeah, so sorry, guys. Okay. So, yeah, coming over here, extremely sorry for that. I mean, isolated location, but still. Okay, fine. So this is application pool and pool. So this will be the pseudo code. I'm just giving you the pseudo code. And remember why we are building here? Because so that we can get a, if this was Linux container, then you have to do the build again, isn't it? So that's why you do the build inside Docker. Huh? So only the steps are, I'm putting IIS. I'm firing the website command and this, right? So that's what it is. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. So for Linux, so let us start. Now let me try to take the question. So guys, we'll run this command tomorrow, huh? Not today. We'll run the command tomorrow. So is Docker Docker image is free from Microsoft? Yes, the IIS Docker image is free, but the Windows operating system license is not free. Please note, huh? I mean, it is not key. You will get a pirated version or something. You have to actually buy the license of it. How to connect the Docker container from local machine to Docker container server? I not got the question. Okay. How to make virtual directory in Docker image, right? So virtual directory, as you can see, this new website actually creates a, I mean, like when I say see physical path, this is the virtual directory, right? Okay. That is the virtual directory. It will become the virtual directory. Okay. Okay, let me see. Let me take this. I'll take this question. This is a good question. So Please note, guys, I am also a learner at the end of the day. So yes, I have done a lot of Docker, but sometimes you come into some awkward situations, and definitely that it needs googling a bit, right? Is the IIS image also I also containing browsers like Chrome? No, it does not have any browser like Chrome. We have to tell him to install Chrome. Like we have IIS image, can we have SQL image? Yes, you have SQL image. And can we have SQL image with SSMS UI? See, you can have an SSMS UI installed, but you can never connect to that SSMS UI. So what you can do is that you can install SSMS outside and connect through the 1433 port to that image, right? For example, you can install IIS admin. You can install IIS admin out here, but what is the point, right? You can just use the IIS commands, right? So yes, you can install the software, but it is not, you cannot terminal inside it. You cannot go like this the way I'm doing now. You can't, right? And why it is like that? So that these taskbars and these things, they make everything very loaded. Why is virtual machine light, what do you call, in higher load as compared to Docker? Because it has all desktop and this and that. Everything is out there, right? So here, you become a miser. You say, no, I want to only install IIS. I want to only go and configure this. So with that, it actually becomes the installation becomes leaner and lighter. But I feel that we have covered good topics out here. So today, what we did, first thing, we installed IIS, right? And we ran a simple website. After that, we again installed IIS, but we created a virtual directory. And we also saw the pseudo code that how tomorrow we will run .NET Core. Tomorrow, there are two things I will cover, right? One is how to run .NET Core, right? Another one, how to run old classic ASP.NET 4.5, right? And last one would be ASP.NET 4.5, or sorry, .NET Core connection with SQL Server. So we have SQL Server installed and .NET Core. And then after that, .NET Core with Angular or React with SQL Server. So with that, you will have an idea of how to create the Docker files. And as we move ahead now, guys, my also plan is to create two Docker instances. One Docker will have IIS, another one will have SQL Server, and they connect. So like a network, right? Thank you very much. And thanks for, for all the love.